back, everybody.
Welcome back.
I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We are two average guys here on Cornhusker Nation Facebook page. Glad to have you back.
Yes.
We won.
We won.
We won a game. We got
Weird.
We got we're 1-6. And I've
Best
heard,
1-6 team ever.
Yeah, it's funny because I've heard multiple, not only coaches, broadcasters, analysts. They look at our offensive production every game,
right.
And they look at how we're losing games, and they're saying these guys are the best 1-6 team in the country.
I mean, when you're putting up like 550 yards in a game and you lose because you only end up scoring 28 points.
Well, and you have 12 penalties for 250 yards. And those kind of things are going to kill you. But I think yesterday there was a lot of improvements.
It was fun for one. Probably most importantly. But when we have these big plays or first downs or different things, we weren't getting penalties because whether it's the guys have evolved into not needing to hold or not needing to do this or that. So it was very nice to see, especially, at one point, we didn't have any penalties, and Minnesota had like 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think we almost escaped the entire first half without a penalty.
I think we did.
Yeah, I think very sound football, fundamental
I know that's
football.
been something that we've talked about over the last few weeks. Whether we're being undisciplined or we think that there's bad calls. It was nice.
Yeah,
it was nice to just sit back and let the game play out.
Which is a little funny because I still watching that game, I still found some of the penalties they called. I found them to be very suspect and very questionable, not only on our side but on Minnesota's side as well.
What they say it was the first holding call.
Yeah.
Offense.
So in 21 games now,
21 conference games.
Yeah, 21 conference games. That's the first time that the opposing team has had a holding called against them on a pass play.
That's unbelievable.
20.
You know why that's unbelievable? All right, so I took a party bus down. I took a party bus down to Lincoln. So I was in Lincoln. So I'm not watching the TV when they're, and when the guys are talking in between plays and different things like that. You can't hear it. But I saw a thing come up on the screen, and I texted you and I said, "Did you see that?" And I only saw it for a second, but it said first holding penalty against Nebraska in a conference game, and I just went ahead and assumed that was just for this year.
Yeah, no. 21
and
games.
I said that to somebody, and they were like, "Oh, that's pretty wild. That's the first time this year, or first time this year. 21 games. That's like 3 seasons.
It's ridiculous.
That's unbelievable."
So some people said conference games. I thought it just said games in general. Either way,
whatever it was.
That's ridiculous. And you look at the teams that we play. And I've watched a lot of Big Ten football this year, and I'm seeing a lot of holding on the line. I'm seeing a lot of holdings get called. Now, do people have it out for Nebraska? I'm not necessarily going to say that because I think it's two-sided. You have to look at how our defensive line is getting coached. And I've talked about this before. Last couple of weeks, we talk about if they're not against Wisconsin or Northwestern, they had 0 holding calls on 64 pass attempts. How the hell is that even happen? That's unreal. So
even if you get one penalty, that's like a 1%.
Yeah.
A 2%.
Yeah. So you have to look at our defensive line. Are they not pulling away? Are they not chopping? There's things that they have to do to draw those penalties as well.
And
not fake it, but they got to draw some of those penalties.
Going against a Minnesota quarterback that is a walk-on true freshman.
Mm-hmm.
And did they play 2 quarterbacks?
Yesterday?
Yes.
Minnesota? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because their freshman got hurt.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. But going against, an inexperienced guy, I think we brought some pressure, which was good to see. And we got a few sacks. And my favorite stat of the day, and you'll have to look up, I don't know exactly, because I didn't look it up, how many rushing yards we had. But we talked about this last night when I called you.
Yeah, so we had 358
or something. So, whatever it was. They gave up 99 rushing yards to Ohio State, 2 of the best running backs in the conference. They gave up 31 to whoever they played. They gave up 38 to another team, 75 to another team. We ran wild on them.
Yeah, we did. I predicted a 42-28 win. I'm glad we put up 53. But I think offensively, we controlled that game. We got a little stale in the third quarter,
right?
But then we picked it up,
which was frustrating. But all right, what do we got?
So Zom asked about the physical ability alone for Adrian Martinez. He's the best QB in our lifetime. My lifetime is 32 years. So from what I've seen, as far as getting to know and understand football. I think I compare him, and I did like one of the first games. I compared him to an Eric Crouch, as far as his elusive ability. But I think he does have an edge. Now his pass game, he struggled early on. He wasn't supposed to be the passer. Jebby was actually supposed to be our better passer.
He's a good passer.
But Martinez has improved on his vision. He still makes.
He's got good receivers to throw to.
Last week and the week before, he's still making some mistakes, but his vision in the field improved drastically yesterday.
All right.
You can talk about it's Minnesota. I don't care. Minnesota only allowed 30 points to Ohio State, and I don't think anyone expected that. Their defense is not bad. They got some good guys on the line, but
all right.
I think Martinez is definitely up there. If not number one, he's in top 3 of what we've seen, especially in Nebraska.
Because first and foremost, you would obviously go to Tommy Frazier and Eric Crouch. I think when Tommy Frazier was the quarterback in Nebraska, it was a much different college football landscape.
Yeah.
Obviously, we were running the option. It's a different, and I know there's teams that still run the option today, but not a national championship team running the option.
Yeah.
So it was a different ballgame. Frazier could drop back and throw, but he didn't have to.
We didn't have to with him, and he also just was not the most accurate passer. So best dual threat, Zom. Actually, I'd say he's the best dual.
What
threat
I would say is, and even Crouch was probably a better runner than passer, in my opinion.
He did have a cannon.
He did. Don't get me wrong. I think that the way that, at least we've seen through 7 games, is that they want Martinez to pass, which he can.
We're not gonna be the '90s Huskers where we ran an option.
Yeah, but
we don't run
when we need him to tuck it and go, he's pretty.
He squeezes. He squeezes through small holes. When I'm like, man, he's gonna get.
I'm like, it's 3rd and 3, and he's planning on passing, and he tucks it and kind of slides by somebody, and you're like, oh no, he's not gonna get it, and then he gets 4 or 5 yards, 6 yards, whatever it is.
Yeah, so
and I don't know if you saw it, he was very disappointed that he did not get in the end zone on that long run that he had.
2 long runs. He had 2.
Well, he had the long run, then he got stopped at the 10. He was pretty bummed about that.
Yeah, I think I compare him to Crouch, but I think
and again,
he's right there.
Going back to Zom's question, he is at this point in time only an 18-year-old freshman.
Yeah.
I mean, down the line, 2, 3, even next year.
Yeah.
2-3 years, next year, whatever. He is potentially going to be the best quarterback that we have seen in our lifetime.
And potentially Big Ten. I mean, Grant just asked, what about his potential for Heisman? No doubt. I think he has that potential to be a Heisman candidate.
For sure. And I mean, PJ Fleck came out yesterday and said that Martinez is one of the most effective offensive weapons in the country.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how, and Zom just says, he's elusive. He really goes around guys. He's very deceptively good, deceptively fast. Because he doesn't gas it right away, but as soon as he decides to go, he's gone.
And you're talking about a kid that didn't play his senior year of high school.
Yes.
So that's what I'm most impressed with.
Yeah.
Is this kid didn't play for an entire, his entire senior year.
He's really stepped up into his role. And
I love him.
And I think Jimmy wants to
I'm sorry. I am so impressed with this guy.
But I think one thing that we got to look at too is, in the beginning of the year, he had a backup. He had a backup that wasn't Andrew Bunch that was also coming in as a redshirt, but also touted to be pretty good. So he knew that if he was, hey, I'm number 1, but if I make mistakes and I got to be pulled for a couple series,
whatever,
I got a backup that can come in and play really well. Now we've seen Bunch, who isn't terrible, but I still think he's got the mentality. He's like, I'm number 1. I have to play number 1, be number 1, and that's how that's my mentality on the field, and he's shown it. And he definitely showed it yesterday.
Obviously, we saw the spring game, and everybody was excited about Adrian Martinez. I definitely was.
Yes.
But, they're talking about a quarterback battle before the season. And when they announced that Sunday, Monday, whatever it was before the first game, that Martinez was the quarterback, I just knew, this guy is special.
Yeah.
If he's winning that job, because they had said, I know Jebbia was a Riley recruit, and people are mad at him now, but they said he was, first guy in, last guy out.
Yep.
He's there studying. Frost loved his work ethic, how much he just wanted to spend time learning the playbook, and this and that. And I thought, shoot, I even said it. I said Jebbia is going to win the job to start the year. And Martinez wins that job, and I'm like, this guy is special.
Yeah,
and he is.
Yeah, he is. And I think you got to look at, back to the original question is he the best we've seen in our lifetime? If he's not the best, he's definitely number 2, and I'd put him right next to Eric Crouch. And Eric Crouch, we know he can sling it. We know he can pull down the ball and run when he planned on passing him. You're looking at a different offensive line, too. Talk about our offensive line. We give props to all our guys in our offense yesterday, but, man, how good was our offensive line?
First good game they played.
Not the first good game. That was the best game, though.
Okay.
They've had a
first
couple of
decent
good
game
games,
they played.
but that was by far their best game yesterday.
Agreed. And I know there was some recruits there, offense, defensive linemen,
yes,
defensive backs, just very good. There was at least 8 solid guys there yesterday, just very good.
Oh, we had a packed sideline with recruits, and I think that was really good. I think that was really good. We really shored up a lot of things on offense and defense to, I think, solidify some commitments.
And I will say, my boy that I not make fun of, but I harp on every week, played pretty well. Lamar Jackson had probably his best game that he's had as a Husker.
He looked really good.
There was a catch they jumped up and caught that was in front of him, and I was like, of course it was Lamar. But he played pretty well. Aaron Williams definitely played a heck of a lot better than he did the week before. And I know there was that end of the second quarter, give up a touchdown. Into the third quarter, we give up back-to-back touchdowns. There's a little lull on the offense.
Yeah.
Really, all that you can complain about. It was fun, man.
Yeah, and so penalties. I know we had a lot less penalties.
And I think the ones we got were late and didn't necessarily make a difference.
Yeah. So to your question, Grant, I don't know how many penalties for yards we had, but I know we definitely improved.
5 or 6, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I thought it was
like
under 10 for sure.
45 yards or something.
I thought it was under 10 for sure, but McKenna mentioned we would not have had Martinez if it was Riley recruiting. No.
100%.
Riley took in Tanner Lee because he was an NFL-style quarterback as far as being a passing quarterback. That's not what Frost is going to want. He wants somebody that can do both.
For sure, and you're talking NFL, just to flip the script here. Everybody that I can think of, I was telling yesterday, Divine Ezigbo looks like a player that deserves or has earned himself a chance to play on Sundays.
Yes.
I personally think.
Yeah, he's shown it.
You're talking about
games.
A guy that has been pushed and pulled in 25 different directions with different coaches, and every time he comes out ahead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like I mentioned last week, he reminds me of Monty Cross because he can bust through people, but I think he's faster. He can get out to the side and bust away from guys.
Oh, the 59-yard touchdown run that he had, I thought it was Washington.
Impressive.
I honestly, I was like, Washington! And everybody's like, that was a Zigbo. And I'm like, oh, shit, really?
Yeah. And a guy blew his assignment. He busted in, but Zigbo noticed that, didn't hit that hole and bounced outside, got a great block. He got a great block from, I don't know if that was Jack Stoll or who got the block on the outside, but he got a good block and he made the most
of it. I'm not sure how much Cade Warner played, but I think he had a big block on a play, and I think that's why he's getting to play.
Mike Williams had a couple good catches again.
Those receivers, they're going to play him if they can block.
Zigbo's fast now. Yeah, well he lost weight in the offseason. That's what he planned on doing to gain some speed.
I think he's gonna. I don't know if he'll get drafted, but I think somebody will pick him up as a free agent, and I think he will surprise people.
So,
Depending on if he gets into the right organization in the NFL.
Yeah, so a couple people mentioned the defense. A couple questions on the defense. So we have McKenna asked, 28-22. We allowed them back in the game. It was 28-8. They get a couple.
It was 28-0.
Well, yeah, but either way, 28-8 going to the second half. They get the ball. They score a couple TDs, and it's 28-22. I'm sitting at home, and I'm like, oh my god, this is flashback. Like I'm gonna freak out. And my wife's like, calm down. Like I can't. Like this is not okay. Like if I said if we lose this game, if we blew a 28-point lead and lose this game, I'm never watching a Husker football game for the rest of the season.
I was gonna jump off a bridge.
He might actually do that, guys. So don't judge him. It is what it is. But it was very disheartening to see that. But the why behind it, I think, and you heard the broadcaster say it more than once. They're like, he rushed 3 and dropped back 8. We did that so many times where we dropped 8, and when we dropped 8, we still were not able to cover the pass game. And so that's
which doesn't make sense.
And I'm no defense coordinator, so I'm trying to watch these games as I see these passes and these routes unfold. And we didn't see a ton of replays on a lot of the passes yesterday and how they got open. But I'd really, if I could go into a film room and look at that, I'd really be interested to see what we're seeing, because if we're rushing
and what we're actually trying to do, what it is, where the goal is, if you will. Because I think if you're getting beat, sending 3, dropping 8.
Yeah.
Why don't you flip the script and try to send 7?
Yeah. Well, and
at least maybe get a sack, maybe get a hand up on the ball, maybe get some pressure so he throws it away or whatever it is. Because if you're sending 3, dropping 8, and they're still hitting an open receiver, what's the goal? I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah,
so,
and that's the thing. Once again, we're not defense coordinators, but
we're
watching
not
the game,
coaches. We're not specialists.
Watching
it's just
the game,
a question.
Yeah, watching the game, it is really hard though. When you see us drop 8, we're not getting pressure on the quarterback. We had 1 sack yesterday.
We had at least 1.
We had 1.
We didn't have 2?
1 sack. We had 1 sack. We had some QB hurries. We only had 1 sack though.
I don't believe that.
Okay, that's fine. But anyways, I think we did start to lose it a little bit. I don't know if we just came out flat. I don't know if it was blown coverage.
Are you talking about the second half?
Out flat? Came out second half. I think we started off really flat, and I think that was a big part of it. And then our offense started off flat too. They score, and then we had a very mediocre offense. And I just think those kind of things go hand in hand. Our defense just came off the field. Offense goes out. Defense is back on the field.
It could be, as frustrating as to say, it could just be, a team that doesn't know how to win. So when they're up, they don't know how to play.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I think we still have to learn how to win. Yesterday we learned how to win. Zam mentioned, at least this time they responded and stepped on the throats. Didn't panic. So the play action to Stanley Morgan. Guess what? They thought we were going to run down the clock. They thought we were going to run the ball, take some time off the clock.
Which is what we normally would do in this case.
Bow offense,
right offense. That's
for
what they would do. Especially.
And they pulled that, and I'm like,
bow offense.
I'm like, he's wide open. And I'm like, is there a safety around? No, just whoop. He's gone. Stanley Morgan gone, 67 yards, and that was
his second touchdown, because he had the first one that, oh my God, Martinez scrambled around. Threw it kind of awkwardly. Perfect ball.
Yeah.
Did I say that I loved him?
He does, and that's the thing. I mean, that was great. Martinez Morgan.
Yeah, Stanley had his best game, obviously, of the season. Last week he had 2 catches for 10 yards, and everyone's wondering, we lose a game in overtime when we're up by 10 points, and where's pretty much our best player for the last 4 seasons?
Yeah, 10 for 163 yards yesterday and 2 TDs. I mean, that was a hell of a game. 6-7 yards in a long TD, but
one of my favorite things was Martinez has the long run and he doesn't score and he's frustrated about that, and then he throws a dart to Spielman for a 9-yard touchdown.
Bullet.
Awesome. Love it. Love these guys.
Oh, I agree. So talks about McKenna mentioned Bell transferring. I think it was really good because that gave Mo Washington that second slot in the run game. And he's improved a ton. And we talked about this last week. He's a great runner, but man, they used him as a wide receiver a couple times. I want to see that more. So, and they did try that wheel route yesterday with him and I think it was overthrown or something. I can't remember, but
I do agree with you, McKenna. McKenna always has good points. I think that probably gave Divine Zigbo. I don't know. Maybe he was like, I'm grabbing this team on my shoulders, or I have some more confidence now. Like this is my team. This is my job. This is my role. I got the number one job here. Mm-hmm. I mean, aside from 1A, 1B, whatever you want to say, because Washington is obviously going to play. But, you know, Frost said it. He said, you know, these guys are leaving. Now we have kind of a clearer picture of, like, who wants to be here, who doesn't. And it's easy to, you know, go along with that. I think you're seeing it. Yeah. You're seeing these guys. As for even down to the offensive line, how piss poor they played early on and how much better they were. Yeah.
And even when they're getting beat.
Especially against what they're calling a top 25 rush defense.
They have really good defensive ends, Minnesota does. And Farniok did much better yesterday. I thought Bo Wilson had a great game. Farmer had a good game. So I think we're getting there. And I think the strength and conditioning is picking up. McKenna mentioned we give up a lot of yards. We're averaging almost 450 yards a game that we're giving up.
I know she hates Shenanigans. She wants them to go.
Yeah, but
I understand.
So what do we see as progression? What do we want to see the rest of the season?
So here's my thing. You have these players on defense that, and I know there are some young guys playing, but you have players that have played potentially under, you know, in 3 different. Or more than that. Last year, we bring in Diaco.
And the year before.
And, you know, we had, I don't even know what the guy's name is at this point. You're talking about pretty much every season for these guys. They've been in college. They have to learn a different scheme. Yeah. So, yes, the Chenander comes in, and for one, we all knew UCF gave up points.
We knew that was going to be the biggest question.
And that was the thing. It was, we score points, but we give up points. It's more of a high risk, high reward. We're trying to get turnovers. Yep. And when you have a player like Shaquem Griffin that can go in and get sacks and get turnovers, you know, we need somebody like that.
And that's what we don't have. We don't have the speed on defense on our line. We got big guys.
We have guys that are good.
We don't have the speed to get in and get the sacks. Yeah. And that's what we're missing. So I think that's what we should be going after as far as recruiting. We need speed guys on offense.
Which is, I'm sure, what they're doing.
But we also need the strength, and we have to bring pressure every play, I think, because if we're going to be giving up yards.
Well, and that's why I've been a little curious, because we talk about UCF, they score a lot of points but give up, score a lot of points but give up points. Yep. But it's try to get turnovers. That's why it does get frustrating when they drop back and we don't have any pressure whatsoever. Yeah. Whether you get to the quarterback or not, we got to have guys flying in there.
Yeah. Well, and so when we get our guys on the field and we go 3 and out, or we're scoring in less than 2 minutes, our defense is right back on the field.
That too.
And that's something
that was the problem at UCF because they scored so fast.
That's something that Frost said is that's going to happen. Our guys, how is our defense going to respond when they have to go right back on the field and they were just out there? So it's going to take time. I think defense is going to take the longest time, because in the Big Ten, there's a lot of rush teams. There's not a teams that throw it a ton, except you saw the 64 from Thorson last year, and last week, and you saw 74 pass attempts from Haskins last night. That was unreal. 74? I mean, they don't even throw that much on the pros.
They scored 20 points.
Yeah, but he had 74 attempts. He didn't have that many, obviously. God. So that's not a normal Big Ten. Big Ten is about defense most of the time. And then you got some teams that have really good offense too. So I think if we can put together the offense and we give up some points, we're going to have a better offense than a lot of the teams in the Big Ten, because you don't see a ton of points being put up on a regular basis.
Right, and it's better to be able to score fast. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, it's better to be able to score fast than to have a better defense. I mean, you see, when we had Sue, no one could score.
No.
They'd score 10 points a game, but we couldn't hardly score 13 points a game.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's
It's frustrating and
It is.
kind of boring to me to watch. I'd rather be scoring points.
Yeah, but I think our defense, they improved yesterday. I think they got better.
Yeah.
Even though we did give up those points, right then and there after we gave those points, boom, we stopped in their throats offensively, and our defense
And
picked
then
it
they
back
came
up.
back in and stopped them.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
aside from, them scoring right at the end of the half, and then they get the ball and they score. I mean, it's like, if
Yep.
you get the ball to start the second half, that's always the goal. Score
Yeah.
late, get the ball back, and score early.
Yeah,
And
Max,
that's what they did.
Max mentioned our DBs were turning their heads. I mean, the pass interference that we got, I thought that was pretty suspect. I didn't
Which
really
one?
agree
Who
with
got
it.
called on that? I can't remember.
It was Jackson. Lamar got called on a pass interference. I didn't really agree with it. The ball wasn't catchable.
No, I agree with you. I remember it now. Because
but-
I thought he, position-wise, played better than he has. So yeah, that was.
But
I thought they
either
maybe
way-
could have called one on Boodle, maybe, but even then,
It was one of those things where Boodle, he turned his head a little bit, but he
Yeah.
wasn't pushing the guy. He was standing like this. He didn't jump. He didn't push. He didn't have his hands on him.
yeah,
So it was one of those calls that could have gone either way. But Oregon definitely, their defense is like Zom mentioned. Their defense wasn't that great either. They scored a ton of points. So
right, and that's pretty much why they didn't win the national championship when they played Ohio State. Was they ran into a team whose offense was just as good as theirs, and they couldn't stop them.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean that's.
And their defense was better than, Ohio State's defense was better than Oregon's.
Yeah.
That's why that game went the way it did.
Yeah, and I think defensively, McKenna, you asked about the depth. I think that's. I don't know if it's. I know we have depth at some positions, especially on our line. I think you put depth with inexperience and young guys that haven't
Plus a new
played.
scheme.
And
And honestly, if I have anything to critique or be critical about, Dedrick Young I thought was very bad. Even though he had the interception and he had a bunch of tackles, I think at this point in time, if Will Honus was not out for the season, he would be in replace of him.
absolutely.
Personally.
Yeah.
And maybe it's different for them, and maybe he wouldn't be there. But
Yeah. So
to me, it's still good because we get Will Holmes for a couple years because he can take a redshirt year.
Yeah, so I think depth is definitely a part of it, but I also think the experience and the guys that we have they don't have the strength and conditioning to be ready to go. They're freshmen or they're sophomores. They haven't played yet or whatever it might be. So part of it is depth, but I think strength and conditioning is a big part of what they'll be the focus on in the offseason. I think we'll be all right. So Grant mentions we're dropping more. Yeah, so we're dropping 8 because our DBs, our defensive backs. Yeah, I mean I don't think there are. Biggest weakness is hard to say. I mean, it's hard to point out one group of guys that's our biggest weakness on defense. I don't disagree, but I think it's hard just to say absolutely our DBs are the worst. We see our DBs have good games and bad games, so I think there's a lot of improvement there. I mentioned last week, I was on Twitter, and I mentioned Lamar Jackson really he's one of the best cover guys in the Big Ten. He's second on the list in the cover guys for D-back or corner. But you wouldn't watching him. You don't necessarily think that, but he has the talent. There's little things here and there to work on where he could be a shutdown corner. I said he could be like a Prince. He could be Prince and Mukamara out there, but he's got a lot of things to work on. Trey Neal did okay yesterday. He got beat on.
He's a little small, I think, is his
He's
problem.
not very tall.
He's small.
But he was a little off on the throw. He was kind of falling back on the deep pass when he was scrambling, and they threw it deep. But I think we'll get those things worked out. I think there's a lot to learn.
I think it's probably easy to say that the defensive backs are the weakness because even if the D line is weak, I think that the linebackers are pretty solid. You're talking Mohamed Berry, you're talking Luke Gifford. I mean, you're talking the best guys that we have on defense on the field that are right behind them. It's easy to forgive the D line for either not getting pressure or letting them get by on run. In the run game. Just in general, I think we need to get some guys in there throughout the next few years in recruiting.
Yeah, and we
defensive
mentioned
backs and defensive linemen.
Yeah, we mentioned last week, it's really tough when our defensive line, when they're not getting coverage sacks, they're not getting pressure on the quarterback.
Right.
Saw a couple plays yesterday where the quarterback had all all day to throw the ball. And our defensive backs just kind of stand there like they did the last few years. They're just like, oh, hey, we're not going to come get you at
The
all.
linemen?
Yeah, and so it's like, man, you get, and they end up having an incompletion on that play, I think, but I saw it a few times. It's like, man, you have to keep
there at some point, the defensive backs are going to give you a coverage sack.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're playing well enough, whether they're trying to just do a 5-yard gain and you shut it down, and then at that point, they're just done.
Yeah.
One quick thing, and I'm not sure what they ended up calling on it because they never really said anything, but Martinez threw a deep ball at one point, and they called it intentional grounding.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then they said it was 3rd and 17, and they took it back and said 2nd and 17.
The rest are idiots.
I know you drop back and he's not not outside the tackle box, but
you can't just launch it deep.
I know you can't just launch it deep.
Yeah, that's what intentional grounding.
Did they call that, or did they end up taking that back? I thought they ended up taking it back.
No, they called intentional grounding.
See, because I thought it ended up being like 2nd and 17.
That was a different play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was different.
Either way.
But yeah, I mean, I still think defensively, there's still a lot of ways to improve. A lot of ways to improve our defense. No one, even our defense will say that. Frost will say that. Shenander, he knows that. Strength and conditioning, I think we have a long ways to go in the weight room with a lot of those guys. But coverage, I think we'll get there. We have guys that have talent. I just don't think they are prepared to be on the field as much as they are. So conditioning for one.
Yeah, that's probably pretty good.
But they can always improve and get some turnovers. We had a couple interceptions last week. The interception yesterday. I think we need those turnovers on D to help out our offense and to help out the defense, get them off the field faster too. But
for sure.
Oh, and Zom mentioned Dedrick Young's been playing for like 7 years. The dude hasn't. It seems like he's been playing forever. Seems like he's been on the team forever. He's like a Blau. Blau. Seems like
David Blau has played for Purdue.
12 years.
After the Purdue game, I was going to mention something about it. The guy's played against Nebraska for like 10 years, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But, no, Dedrick Young, I don't know, or like that first game against Colorado, I thought he looked pretty good. And especially right next to Mohamed Berry, he's best player on the defense.
Yeah.
I was very excited. It's tough. I mean, new schemes, multiple different times.
I think it's partly scheme, but I think it's partly talent for him too.
I think so too.
And I think for some, I think for a lot of the guys, I think it's partly scheme. But even whether it's scheme or not, I mean, you still got to play your position. If you're supposed to cover a guy, you got to cover a guy.
And he's out of position, especially like Michigan long runs and different things like that.
Yep.
Even Purdue and Northwestern, just not being in position.
Yeah, and so I think to finish the season, I think we have defensively. I think we need to give up. We need to have a game where we give up less than 20 points. Right now,
hopefully, will be this week.
This
is the best chance we have.
I'm not even going to count Bethune-Cookman for that. I'm looking at Illinois. I'm looking at Iowa, and I'm looking at Michigan State. And I don't think it's going to happen against Ohio State. But those are the 3 games I'm looking for us to make a statement and come out and not give up more than 20 points. I think that's going to be a big staple. Even if two of our last games, 3 including Bethune-Cookman, if we give up less than 20. If we can do
that to Bethune-Cookman, obviously then we play Ohio State. If we can play tough against them, even if we lose the game and they score maybe 40-some points, whatever, then we turn around and play Illinois. If we can give up 10 to 17 points, I think that'd be pretty good, especially going forward with a lot of young guys. On the defensive side of the ball, getting some confidence.
I also think we have to learn how to strip the ball.
Yeah, and
I couldn't tell you last time we had a fumble recovery on defense.
Agreed, and
it's been a long time.
I will say it's not for lack of trying. I know Luke Gifford especially is one that he tries to strip the ball every time.
Yeah.
Not only is he in position, wraps up, and tries to strip the ball. It's good to see, but I'm with you. I mean, Shaquem Griffin could do it last year, and he only had one hand.
I think you mentioned Ohio State. We'll talk about them in a second, kind of what we think going into that game. We should hammer Illinois.
I don't know what to think.
Michigan State, I mean...
They're so up and down. It honestly just depends on how they are that week.
We don't know what we're going to get. Michigan didn't even stop them. I mean, it was 21-7. I know Winovich runs his mouth. I wish someone would cut his hair, but or throw him in the wrestling ring.
Dude, those guys are dumb. Like, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to think about that or watch it.
I think Michigan talks a lot of smack, which is fine right now. They have the record to do so, but I think Michigan State you just never know what you're going to get from that team, offensively or defensively. They played Michigan defensively pretty well. They had a couple of long plays that scored them touchdowns. They had Michigan had a couple turnovers inside the red zone, a couple fumbles in the red zone. Gave the ball back to Michigan State. I don't know what Michigan State's going to do against anybody else the rest of the year because they have been this kind of team, and you just don't know what you're going to get.
They lose to Northwestern after they beat Penn State. I mean, I honestly don't know. It honestly just depends. I think playing at home will help.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't know if I said it last week or in previous weeks, since we joined the Big Ten, we have played very well against Michigan State. That's why I think that we will beat them this year.
Yeah.
We have played well against them.
Yeah. Every year.
Every time. Whether we lost or won, it's been a close game. Or not a close game. We beat Kirk Cousins 24-3 or 27-10 or whatever it was. So I think we're going to beat them.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, as far as our game next week against Bethune-Cookman, I haven't studied them at all. I know they lost this last
I know
week,
absolutely zero about them.
Yeah, all I know is that we should score 60 against them and give up less than 20.
I think
I see no
I was just gonna say this earlier. I think Noah Vedril's probably gonna play a pretty good amount of this game.
He'll probably play the entire second half, I would say.
He might play more than that because we don't want to hurt Martinez.
Yeah. We're not gonna get him hurt against Bethune-Cookman. Come on, he's not gonna get hurt. Stop it.
You can get hurt against anybody. It's a freak tackle here and there.
We're gonna play him for a half, and then we're gonna rest him for a half. Vidrell's gonna play the second half. Vidrell hasn't played an entire game. Why would we play him for an entire game?
I don't disagree, but even the cat freaking agrees.
No, she agrees with me.
No, I think Vedrill will play quite a bit of this game.
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly okay with that, even though I love to watch Martinez play.
Yeah, I think Vidrell will play. I think it'll be a good game. Martinez, I think we're going to put up some good numbers in the first half.
I think you're going to see
35
you're
points in the first half.
You're going to see a lot of jersey numbers that you have not seen.
Yes.
You're going to see a freshman running back that you haven't seen.
Yep.
You're going to see some wide receivers that you haven't seen.
Wilbon might play for the first time this year. He hasn't played at all.
He's still
Wilbon.
He's still on the team?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
And Zom did mention earlier too. He asked about Mo Washington. Are we the only ones just waiting for him to bust out for a long TD run? Man, absolutely. I want to see him run for a 60-yard
That's why,
TD.
like I said, when Zigbo had the 59-yard run, I legitimately thought it was Washington.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, finally. But at the same time, I love Zigbo, so
absolutely.
I was okay with that.
Let's see. Oh, Levante David. Why haven't they retired Levante David's number yet? Oh, I think they will.
They should.
He was one of the best we had on defense as a black shirt.
And as a Buccaneers fan, I still get to watch him. He's my favorite Husker defensive player.
Yes.
Pretty much of all time.
He's fantastic. And Prince is having a good year for the Bears. We got some guys out there in the NFL having really good seasons.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Searles is having a good year. I'm trying to think.
I think
our tight end.
now's
Paul.
I think Lewis ended up getting hurt, but he's pretty good for Baltimore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Levante David, that was my favorite.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing too. Is we want guys that are eligible for the NFL that are going to make it to the NFL, and that's strength conditioning.
I don't know who that is.
Are we back live? We good?
I think so.
Okay. I think we're good. Okay, we're good. All right. Woo! Sorry, someone tried to call us while the show's going on.
And it wasn't even a number that I knew, so.
Oh, God.
What the heck? It's Sunday.
Out of state calling on a Sunday. But yeah, I think NFL draft potential, we have a few guys this year.
I certainly hope we have somebody that gets drafted. Stanley Morgan, obviously.
Yeah. We got Maher kicking for the Cowboys now, and he beat out Dan Bailey.
He beat out Dan Bailey, who's one of the best kickers in the NFL. I mean, Justin Tucker's probably the best kicker in NFL history. But Dan Bailey was very good. So.
But yeah, so how about them field goals? Pooty says, hey, we're 1 for 1. I'm like, hey, it's a 32-yard field goal. I'm like, oh my God, we have to make this. Like, we cannot miss this field goal. And he didn't, but I'm glad he made it. He was only 1 for 1, but it built some confidence.
You gotta start somewhere. This kid needs some confidence. He's an 18-year-old kid. He's a freshman. He needs some confidence. Got a field goal? Sure. Made every extra point.
Yep.
So, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I think guys right now, McKenna asked which guys will retire the number 4 for Nebraska. If you're talking about this season, right now I'd say Martinez. Number 2 is a definite. You might see Spielman. Spielman's breaking a lot of records. Armstrong's had a great career. I don't know if it's a career where he broke a lot of records, but he's had a hell of a career, and I think Mo Washington, you could see his number retired in the future and go to the NFL. I think we have a lot of the past. I ain't worried about the past.
I would say
Pelini era.
I would say that Washington is probably having a better freshman season than Amir Abdullah did.
Yeah.
And Amir Abdullah was good. He was.
Yeah.
He definitely got faster over the years, but I think Washington is having a better, freshman season.
And we haven't even seen what he could do yet.
Right, because he's got, you got a player like Divine Azigba that you have to play.
You can't not. Yesterday in the press conference, Frost talked about Martinez, talked about how, his numbers were senior numbers.
When 25 and 29.
Someone was like, "You're 25."
Absolutely
he was 25 and 29.
Incredible.
276, 3 TDs. Also ran for 125 yards and a TD on 15 carries, and he's like, I didn't know that he was 25 and 29. He had no idea it was those are senior numbers, and that's what you want to see from a coach.
I might actually go back and watch the game.
He was shocked. I don't. For one, if we were to arm wrestle, who would win? I'm gonna say me, just because I'm the older cousin of the two of us. So I'm gonna say me. Jimmy might say different, but I'd have to do right-handed. I can't do anything left-handed. So.
I was a hockey player, and my right shoulder, which I'm right-handed, my right shoulder is trashed.
So is mine. Maybe we go left-handed then. My right shoulder's trashed too. But Spielman, will he leave early?
That is a concern, I will say.
It's a concern, but I don't know.
He is a little bit undersized, which might not be necessarily in his favor.
But is he going to want to leave after the things he's doing right now with Nebraska and his connection with Martinez? Is he someone who's going to want to leave college? Obviously, the money is, but he ain't struggling for money.
It depends. I guess I will say, if he could be a potential first-round guy after next season, then maybe.
Yeah, I think he's got at least one more year after this year. Hopefully, more.
Yeah, and if he does leave, and obviously he would be that good to go to the NFL early, first round or whatever it might be. So that'd be great because we like to see our Huskers in the NFL and succeed and that type of stuff. So
I think
as far as for our team wise, I certainly hope that he does stay. But I've talked to people about that. I am concerned that he might leave after next year.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yeah, he might. So he maybe has 2 years left, but I'd be shocked. I think it's going to depend on how the rest of this year goes and what next year does. So McKenna, you mentioned Prince. I think Prince will get retired. Prince Mugmar. I think he was one of the best corners we've had in Nebraska in a long time in that Pelini era.
What, 21? What's his number?
Yeah, 21.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I think he will. He did redshirt, John. So he's got 2 years after this is his third year.
Who's that?
But he redshirted, so he's got 2 years.
Nigel?
No, I'm talking about Spielman.
Oh yeah, he's only sophomore.
Yeah. But yeah, regarding it is hard to say if you're a top pick. It's tough at that age too because you got a lot of guys.
Well, and his
long.
dad's that's my concern is his dad is an NFL GM, so he's gonna know what he should do.
Yeah, and he'll get some good advice, and whether or not
he's definitely gonna get some good advice on what he should do.
If he leaves early, it's probably going to be a good thing for him because he's probably going to be at that point where he can go big.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping he stays next 2 years. I really do. And he'll stay through next season, of course. He's not going to leave after this year.
He is awesome. He's great.
Mm-hmm.
And you do see, the Danny Woodheads. You see some of these
Julian Edelman,
the Julian Edelmans. You see
Beasley.
You see these smaller guys that do succeed in the NFL. He's small.
Yeah.
And that can be an issue.
Yeah. It can be, but it can be an issue for defenses too.
That's true.
They're hard to cover.
I mean, concussions, just different injuries like that. So, I think he will be in the NFL. He could be great. I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
But I certainly hope we can keep him for a couple years.
Absolutely. So we mentioned Martinez stats yesterday. We know Zigbo, 12 for 152.
That's crazy to me. He only had 12 carries.
But he had 3 rushes for 105 yards because he had a 59-yard run and a 40-yard run and a 6-yard carry. So at that point, he had 3 carries for 105 yards. I mean, that's insane.
That is wild.
But
he only gets 12 carries in that game?
But Washington had 14 carries, and he got 15 carries from Martinez. So we didn't carry the ball a lot.
And Martinez threw the ball 29 times.
3 different guys. Washington, so we had 3 guys rush for over 100 yards. The first time we did that,
Did Washington rush for
109?
Oh, wow.
That's the first time Nebraska's done that. I think they said, someone's going to have to pull up the year for me. It's been a long time, though. Long time since
Come on, fans.
Someone look it up. Someone messaged me yesterday about it, but it's been a long time since we've had 300-yard rushers. So that was fantastic. Morgan, obviously, 163 yards receiving, a couple TDs, but Spielman had 8 receptions, 77 yards in a TD.
Could you maybe say
2010.
Martinez, Burkhead, Abdullah?
Maybe.
Or Halou or something?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that.
2010.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be somewhere in there.
I knew it was a
between those 4.
But not a lot of teams are doing that. Not a lot of teams are getting three guys rushing 100. Yeah, Roy Halou was the other guy.
Right.
Nice. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Good man.
Solid. That's
but
the
really,
fans
helping out. So I put up my offensive players of the game yesterday on Twitter, and I had a couple people like, why you got to hang on Spielman? Like, why are you forgetting Spielman? I'm like, I'm not forgetting him. He's had breakout games.
He's had every game. He's had a breakout game.
I was like, I gotta put up Stanley Morgan because he had a fantastic game
because it was finally the first time that he had a breakout game.
Yes, and
Spielman's had a breakout game every game.
We were able to get him open, so it was great. But no hate on Spielman. He had 77. He had 77 yards in the TD as well. So
shoot, man, he might end up being. Morgan's gonna break records. Spielman's gonna break his records.
Yes. Yeah, and so Zom says the new triplets, Martinez, Spielman, Washington. I mean, those 3 guys are scary. If you can name me 3 guys that scary.
Freshman, sophomore.
Yeah, dare you. That's dangerous. So I'm excited. And
we don't follow every college football team, so we don't know. But you're talking about a true freshman like Adrian Martinez, and then you have a true freshman like Maurice Washington, and then you have an already established J.D. Spielman.
Dangerous.
I don't know if there's anybody else out there.
Dangerous.
At
least that are with 2 freshmen in that mix. There's nobody in the country. I guarantee it.
Yes.
So I'm yesterday. If yesterday didn't get you excited for what's to come for Husker football next year, honestly, looking at our schedule,
next year's not so bad.
Our 2 toughest games: Ohio State and.
Why don't we get Ohio State for like 10 years in a row?
I think maybe we have. Wisconsin.
Well,
Ohio State and Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Those are our 2 toughest games.
Year.
But we know Wisconsin's game is the run game. We know Hornibrook. I don't think he's a senior, but if he's the quarterback,
he's not.
We don't got to worry about the pass game. Great. Yeah, defense fell apart. Yep. But we did bring it back together. But really, if you're not excited for next year, and we could be 10-2 or 11-1 next year. I mean, we really could. Obviously, we have to work out the defense. Our offense, we just have to keep the pedal down. We have to keep the foot on the gas.
Yeah, and I think that we'll see, in my opinion, a little bit of a different offense next year, depending on what type of recruits we get in. But with the offensive line, I know they want to go up tempo, and we're not able to go as fast as these coaches and Scott Frost wants to go because we don't have the offensive linemen to do it.
Absolutely. And so McQuitty, I think we're going to see McQuitty. I don't know if I think they're waiting to play him because they want to keep him. They want to redshirt him. But I think we'll see McQuitty.
We'll see him this week. For sure.
Yeah, and so JUCOs, we know they've been out scouting.
Yeah,
JUCOs
for sure.
in Kansas, Garden City. They've been at Kansas City, or was it Johnson County Community College? They've been at a lot of community colleges down in Kansas, and they're getting a lot of good guys to come and visit as well, and getting some names. So I think we got to look at that as well. And that's not a bad way to go. You got guys that are established coming into
they have some college, experience, not just on the field. That's one thing that I will say people don't quite understand is these true freshmen that come in, like, it's not just football. Mm-hmm. It's like a completely different world. You are pretty much living on your own for the first time.
Yeah.
You have to, and during the season, let's be real, they probably don't really take much for classes.
No.
But, I mean, you're basically on your own for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, these JUCOs that we get in, they've been in college for a year or whatever it is, year or two. Let's get some offensive linemen.
Yeah, I think we'll get there. I think we're going to get them. Wisconsin, their defense is down a little bit this year, but so I think next year is one of those years. Can we get in the top 25? Absolutely. I think our schedule favors but our defense has to still improve. If our defense has to improve, our offense is going to get better. I have no doubt about that. I think our offense is going to continue to get better.
I would certainly hope that, depending on how the rest of this season shakes out, why wouldn't Nebraska be a preseason top 25 team? If you're talking the talent that you got coming back with Adrian Martinez,
recruiting class, we're in the top 27.
I mean,
or 26.
You got Notre Dame going 4-8, and they still are in the top 10, top 15 preseason rankings the next year.
Yeah, well, and so are a lot of SEC teams.
Right.
Yeah.
LSU goes 8-4 every single year.
Yeah.
Every year, and they're still in the top 15.
Yeah, and I think. So I think we get some offensive linemen, we get some defensive linemen in. Our recruiting is going to pick up again here at the end of the season. We're not going to go to a bowl game, so I think starting in December, they can start getting their recruiting going as fast as possible. We got guys. There's a Jamie Nance who's had a hell of a year. Wandell Robinson, hell of a year this year. Or he's been out. He's the one that got injured. But he's still committed to us, or he's not committed, but he's visiting us again. Jamie Nance was at the game this weekend. He's a wide receiver, ton of speed.
I mean, those two Burke kids didn't commit to Nebraska to come in and sit around.
Yes,
they're going to be trying to play right away.
There's a lot of good talent in the state of Nebraska that we have to get. We have to stay in Nebraska.
I'm curious to see what they do with the Snodgrass.
Yes,
he's a York kid. I think he's a quarterback. He might play defense too. His dad's the coach.
Yep.
But they won Class B last year against Scott. Fail.
That's right.
But they're talking about, the book's wide open on what position this kid might play. And he's an athlete. So, I mean,
and
I'm excited to see what they try to do with it. Just like Cam Jurgens.
Yeah,
they can play him in like 7 different positions.
Well, and that's right. We got him coming next year. McKenna mentioned, Nance is from Oklahoma. Yeah, we need to recruit some of those dudes from Oklahoma and Texas. And if Nebraska starts being successful again, we're gonna get those recruits. Alicio mentioned a lot more pressure when you're playing to 90,000 fans compared to a couple hundred at a JUCO.
Agreed. I totally agree.
And piggybacking on that.
Freaking
sold out yesterday again. 89,472 people actually showed up at the game. For a team that's 0-6, tell me another team in the country that's going to have that many people show up at a game when the team is 0-6.
Right.
Not a single team is going to get that type of attendance. So, bravo fans for actually showing up and backing your team 100% every game.
On Alicio's point, I mean, talk about Greg Bell. Yeah, you're great at a JUCO. Yeah. And then you come and play against 90,000. Yeah, maybe you're not as good as you thought. But going back to your point, I mean, we freaking doused frosting with a Gatorade jug. We're 0-6.
And
1-6.
Hey, listen, Frost said it's inappropriate, but we loved it. He was excited.
He was running around crazy.
He picked up Morgan.
Man.
I mean, the excitement on the sideline.
Gosh, Morgan's such a good captain. But like I called you, the only reason I called you last night was because I saw videos of Maurice Washington dancing in the locker room. What type of 1-6 team is dancing in the locker room? A team that should be 5-2 at that point.
Or 6-1. I mean, the team.
You're talking a loss to Michigan and a loss to Wisconsin. You're talking about a team that, and not even to mention a game against Akron that you didn't play. You could be like 6-2 team. That would have been. That was Maurice Washington dancing in the locker room because we made a bowl game.
Oh, absolutely.
Became bowl eligible right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was exciting to see the team. They were so excited after the game in the locker room. Not only because they got the first win, but I think you're starting to see the team come together more and more and more every game. And like I mentioned earlier, offensive line. Man, I just thought they played their best game yesterday. And we only allowed 2 sacks, which you'd hope for 1 or none, but they weren't holding on the line. They weren't committing hands to the face penalties. They weren't getting beat off the line.
It was probably more like coverage sacks.
Yeah, and so it was one of those things, or it was one of our teams was scrambling.
Or that too.
We didn't hold our blocks, but you mentioned Dedrick Mills. Dedrick Mills is going to get in some games.
Oh God,
this year. Dedrick Mills is one of those guys.
Very good.
There's was it Thomas? Is it DeAndre Thomas? I think. We got another guy. I think he's a defensive lineman. He's a backfill, but I think we're going to see him next weekend as well. Might be Thomas, or Dedrick might be his first name, but I think we might see him next year. Dedrick Mills. So I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see some good players next week.
We're going to see a lot of numbers that you don't recognize.
In the next couple of years, I think these guys are going to develop in the locker room, or develop in the weight room, and develop into those guys that can be trusted on the line and in those defensive schemes that we want to play, and have that speed and physicality. I just think we're going to get there. I think we see the connection on the team building, the trust in each other building,
and the trust in the coaches. Yeah. I mean, they're buying in.
They flipped the script, and I think they're doing so much.
You talk about a team that's 0-6 and is still buying in. I mean, that's tough.
Yeah, and still fighting hard. Let's talk about that real quick. So yesterday, 87-yard kick return stopped by Eric Lee. Eric Lee was on the other side of the field. On that, he was covering the outside coverage containment on the right side of the field. And as soon as he saw him break through the middle left, they showed the replay. He busted his tail
from
sideline
to sideline.
Sideline to sideline, and he caught him on the 13-yard line. They get one pass for 6 yards down to our 7, or 7 yards down to our 6. Next play, the guy had one tackle? Boodle. One tackle all game. And guess what he did? Boom.
Popped the ball up in the air.
He got his arm in front, popped the ball up, goes off the 78's helmet, boom.
Man, how much do you think Frost loves that? The Eric Lee play, I mean. That's Frost 101 right there.
He's my number 1 defensive player yesterday just because of that. Because at that point, 39-22, they would have probably gone for 2. We haven't stopped a 2-point conversion, I think, this year, maybe 1. It would have been 39-30 at that point. And that where the game was, where our defense was, that would have been just a blow.
I will go ahead and agree with you on that, because how big has it been one play that has kept us from winning the game or has stopped us? Something so small or minor that has snowballed into a loss. We've seen it almost every single game through 6 games. That honestly is the opposite.
Hustle.
That flipped it to where a 39-22 that was about to maybe go to a
still a 2-possession game.
Yeah, but a 39-30 type of game. You have one player just make a play. Just make a play.
Yep.
And we end up scoring.
Yeah. We turn around, we score.
We end up scoring. I mean, that's a 14-point swing, which that's hurt us these first 6 games. It's been basically the opposite.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah.
I like that. I like that call.
We play a lot of prevent D, and not even prevent. We play a lot of zone. It may not be prevent, but it's a lot of zone D. I think our safeties. Reed must not have played yesterday at all. He had 0 tackles. I know he's hurt, but Reed didn't play at all. I think our safeties, I think they're doing okay. Aaron Williams
had a much better game than last week. Last week, he was one of the reasons I thought we lost the game.
Yes. Let's see. Harp on a quarterback play. We give him props to Lamar Jackson. But really, I think...
Sorry, I know I hate on him.
But
he played well yesterday, I will say.
I think our corners and safeties played well yesterday, but I think Aaron Williams, I think he's a hell of a good safety. I really do. There's just times where, in zone especially, where he's behind. He is beat.
Well,
I think he's much better in a man defense situation if he's playing man on somebody.
Right, and I've said it before. You know, it's easy at practice. Not easy at practice. Practice is hard, but when you're going against the same guys, you know their tendencies.
Yeah.
Then you go against somebody that you haven't gone against. You can watch them, but you haven't gone against.
I would say that safety on defense is probably one of the toughest positions to play because as a safety, if you got two guys running out, you have to decide who to take. But you also have to watch the quarterback and how's he positioning his body to read that play. Oh, he's going to go to the guy that's going to my right or my left, or this guy's actually going to go deep instead of stop his route. Or corner's got the deep guy, or the other safety's got the deep guy. I have to cover this guy, double cover him. It is a hard position to play because you have so many.
And you have to play run defense.
Yes, so they have struggled a little bit with tackling and in coverage, but I think it hasn't been every game. Aaron Williams.
And I think that the defenders have wrapped up. Aside from the long Jonathan Taylor run against Wisconsin that he stiff-armed Boodle, they've made more, you know, get in front of you, wrap up type of tackles that we've seen in years.
And I think our closing speed's been really good. I think, you know, there's times last year we're giving them 7 yards, they're catching the ball, our guys break down, they're like, what do I do?
Or they go at him, and the guy catches the ball and sidesteps, and then he completely misses.
But now our guys, I think our closing speed and our open field tackles drastically improved.
Yes.
From the last 10 years. I mean,
and let's be real. Really we knew that we were not going to go undefeated, win a national championship.
Well, we knew our defense is our soft spot. It's going to continue to be our soft spot.
When you have a guy like Mohamed Berry that's caught, I hope, here next year. I hope he wouldn't leave.
I think he will.
That's going to be captaining that offense. Or that defense.
Nick Stoltenberg should be back really soon, too.
He is he's an inside linebacker as opposed to Lamonte David, who was an outside linebacker. But he's that type of player, and he's in every play. I mean, I think they can rally this team to be much better. I think we're better on defense. I know that the game we were 0-6, and we had some issues, but as a whole, we're not just sitting back and letting them throw the ball all day long.
Yeah. And so I think we've gotten better. I think they focused on recruiting in December. Like I said, we're not going to make a bowl game. McKenna, you just mentioned that as well. We're not going to do that. But let's go ahead and get out there and win a few more games. And then focus on off-season, focus on conditioning, focus on weight room. I think they're going to be hitting the weight room. Obviously, there's only so much they can do once the football season is going. I don't know what they allow.
There's regulations on
coaches and when they can be there, but I think they're going to have plans for each player, and the players are going to have to do it on their own to get into the locker room.
And they're going to assign guys like Mohamed Berry, guys like Adrian Martinez, and J.D. Spielman and you know, some of these guys on the offensive line to hold not only themselves but their position groups accountable. Yeah,
and so I think that'll happen. I think we're going to see a lot of weight room in the offseason for these guys. Can Stoltenberg get a medical red shirt? I believe so. But I'm
not sure how many games he's played in.
They said he's going to be coming back soon. He hasn't played in more than 4.
Sit out, bro.
So they might give him a red shirt.
Sit out.
They might be able to give him one. I think they will. I don't think there's any reason to play him the rest of the year, but if he wants to come back and play,
I thought he was going to be back this week. But
they say he's close. He's getting close. So talk about Alicio talks about wrapping up and the hard hits. And really, I don't think the wrapping up's actually been that big of a problem this year. What I can say is we've seen it twice. From the same guy, Boodle. First time he danced. Yesterday, he had a really hard hit.
No, the first time it was Antonio
that was Reed. Reed had the first hit. Boodle did it yesterday. He didn't make the tackle, but
he blew that guy up.
He drilled him, and he backed him up, but he didn't finish the tackle. He didn't wrap up. But really,
Antonio Reed was the one that blew the guy up and then danced around, and the guy still...
Yeah, that's right. Reed did that. But yesterday it was Boodle, and I thought it was really... I mean, he closed the gap really quick, and he's coming up from that corner position. He made a sweet hit. but he just didn't wrap up. He tried to knock him off his feet.
No, and I don't necessarily disagree with hitting him like that, because I think that you should. And I think yesterday it was more of, there was guys around there, so I think he thought, I'm gonna blow him up, and then somebody's gonna finish it.
Yeah.
So I understand that, but
it's hard. I think you hit him really hard. I think really our guys have been able to break down and make tackles a lot better this year than we've seen in the last 3-4 years. So I've been happy with it. I get where you're coming from though. Like, it's hard to see someone just try to blow somebody up and not actually make the tackle. So Zom mentions, do you guys think Breon Dixon might get some playing time? Absolutely. I think he's going to play 3 or 4 games this year. He might not play a full game, but he is one guy from the outside linebacker position that is supposed to be good.
I will say, I expected him to start, and he hasn't. Yeah. And he hasn't been as good as maybe everyone thought. That's what the coaches thought that he would be.
Well, he just maybe strength conditioning.
And maybe that's it. Yet. But you know what? If that's the case, maybe play him in a few games.
Yep.
Get that red shirt, and we got him for 4 years. Develop him a little bit. Get him conditioned. Whatever it is you need to do, because he could be very good.
Yeah, and I think he will be. I'm excited to see. We have a lot of guys that have not seen the playing field much. Even the Cam Taylors, we haven't seen a lot of them yet.
Even Cam Jones. I don't know if he's even played.
True. So
he was supposed to be better than Cam Taylor.
Yep.
We that was a home run. That was a long shot that we even got the guy.
Yeah,
and he hasn't played.
Yeah, Dixon came from Ole Miss. We have a lot of guys that we need to be excited about.
Oh, that's right. Dixon did come from Ole Miss.
But we need to be excited about a lot of these guys coming up and that are going to be playing soon. If not some play this year, which I think they're going to get some play next week, potentially in the Illinois game. I think we're going to get that play out of that.
And it's not the best thing that they did this 4-game red shirt thing, but I do like it because
there are some good things you get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, not even just for us, but just in general. Yeah, you're not sure how a kid's gonna. Yeah, he's great in practice. You're not sure how he's gonna react or how he's gonna play in front of all these fans or in a game atmosphere. So you can play him, and you can say, "Hey, here's the film. Here's what you looked like.
Yep.
This is not what you look like in practice. Here's what you look like.
Here's what we want you to do.
Here's what we want you to do."
Yep.
And you don't have to freaking burn his red shirt.
Yeah.
I like it.
I agree. I think it's good. There's some things we've seen happen in college football that it's like, wow, that's the dumbest rule ever. But I think they have some good things there is some good that comes out of it. But you're going to see more and more transfers happen. It's going to happen.
Which is fine. You can be like, hey, man, it's not working out. See ya.
Yep. So let's talk about.
We talked about Nebraska for a long time.
That's good. Let's see. Yeah, so we will redshirt a lot of guys. Cam Jones will be fantastic. So let's talk.
Agreed.
So Nebraska, I'm excited to see what happens in the next week. Of course, we should destroy Bethune-Cookman.
And I hope to see a lot of numbers I don't recognize.
Yes, I will say Ohio State. Purdue. I do think their defense is better than ours. Man, they just ran away with that game. And the biggest difference between Minnesota and Purdue playing Ohio State is Minnesota did nothing in the second half. Purdue kept the gas on. They kept going. Moore had
against Ohio State. Yeah, I got you.
Moore had a ridiculous game yesterday.
I am scared to play Moore for the next 3 years.
Blau had a ridiculous game yesterday. Moore ain't gonna be.
What we got? Blau? Are we gonna have to play Blau another 4 or 5 seasons?
God, no, probably not. Moore ain't gonna be in. He's not gonna be in the league for another 3 years after this. But I think Purdue. I was watching that game and they looked a lot better than they looked when we played them.
They did.
Because if they played that way against us, they would have put up 60 on us, I think.
Yes.
But Purdue takes down Ohio State, who was number 2 at the time. So
49.
They put up 49.
Ohio State finds a way to lose to.
But once again,
a Purdue or an Iowa by a lot of points every year.
Once again, Haskins threw 74 times. You got J.K. Dobbins and Mike Weber in the backfield. And a good offensive line. They didn't use them. But I think you're starting. But maybe you're starting to see what it's like not having Bosa on the defense. Maybe they just couldn't cover the run. So if we can run the game, we have to run against Ohio State, and their secondary is.
That's why I said I'm not necessarily saying that we can't beat them. I have said that for weeks. I still probably think that we can't.
Yes.
But you have Divine Azigbo run for those 40, 59-yarders. You got Washington going.
I think
you got Martinez dropping back, throwing darts.
I will say, if Ohio State is going to, I think it'd be a closer game than what it has been in the past with them because of our offense.
It's definitely going to be closer than Michigan, than our Michigan game.
I don't think we're going to lose by 50 points. If we lose, I think we might lose by maybe 10. I mean, honestly, I think you're not optimistic. That's fine. I think Ohio State can still lose another game. I think Michigan could beat them.
Michigan's going to beat them.
And then Urban Meyer's going to retire at the end of the year due to health conditions. He already deleted the game out of his mind yesterday.
Did he remember it?
I don't know. Depends if he took his meds or not. But who are my top 4 teams right now? Top 4 teams. I think it's definitely Bama.
Bama is one by itself.
Yeah,
no one's on another level.
Definitely Clemson. They still have not played really anybody yet.
Agreed.
Definitely Clemson. Even though I still think they're probably not going to lose the game because their schedule favors them.
All right, my answer might change depending on who asked this.
Clemson's going to be in there. It's not.
Oh, it was McKenna. I thought it was pretty.
Notre Dame's in there.
Notre Dame is in there, and I could almost. I told you, I think Notre Dame and Michigan could both make that playoff.
Yeah, to me, I think for number 4, LSU, Texas, Michigan, it's a 3-way tie. I would have right now. It's so hard because LSU's got a loss, but
probably Michigan. They had the best loss.
They do, but damn LSU, they beat 3 teams in the top 10. They're not in the top 10 anymore.
Well, and LSU lost to a Florida team that's in the top 15 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess
you can put Michigan there, but I think LSU is right behind them, and I think Texas is right behind them.
Here's the difference: LSU finally has a quarterback that's good.
Yes,
and that's been the difference maker for them for years. Is they haven't had a quarterback.
Yep.
Anyway, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say. So here's what we got: remaining schedule for the Big Ten. LSU's got Bama coming up. Rose Bowl,
Alabama LSU could be better than people think. It's easy to say that Bama's gonna run away with it, but if LSU can, score early, get a turnover,
a lot of people thought
is Tua hurt? Is he out?
Yeah, he's fine. If he's just got to throw the ball, he's fine. I think LSU beat Georgia, and a lot of people thought Georgia was the team to beat Alabama. So I think LSU has a legit shot.
And they beat him by 20 points.
Yeah, I think LSU's got a legit shot. But for the Big Ten, Ohio State's got Nebraska, Michigan State, Maryland, and Michigan left. Those aren't going to be any easy games for them.
They're going to lose at least one game.
Even Maryland, watch out for Maryland in that game. Michigan has Penn State and Ohio State as their 2 toughest games.
Damn.
So Michigan still could have another loss. And then Iowa out of the West, they have one loss to Wisconsin, but they got Penn State, they got Purdue, Northwestern, Illinois, and Nebraska. I mean,
their second half of their season stuff for them.
You could potentially not even have a Big Ten champ in the playoff.
I think it might not happen after
Ohio State loses a game and Michigan, if they lose a game, you got 2 Big Ten teams with 2 losses, they're not going to get in. They will put a Big 12 champ in if it's Texas with 1 loss, or you could see 2 SEC teams in there.
How?
Just trying to kill you.
How?
No, you could see a Pac-12. Washington still have 1 loss?
No, they have 2.
Okay. So
Washington State only has 1 loss. They beat Oregon last night.
So Washington State could be a Rose Bowl. You just don't know. Right now, I think there's too much. It's the Rose Bowl. I don't know who's going to play in the Rose Bowl. It's tough right now. I really don't know.
I mean, shoot, this weekend you got Northwestern, Wisconsin. People forget Northwestern is leading the Big Ten West.
Yeah.
Because they played Purdue the first week of the season and beat them. And so they have 1 more conference game than everyone else does. So they'll play another.
So who's your Rose Bowl pick? Who do you think is going to be in the Rose Bowl?
In the Rose Bowl?
Yeah.
Is the Rose Bowl, what are you talking about, Pac-12 versus Big Ten?
I have no idea. McKenna. You gotta.
Or are you talking about?
I think Pac-12, Big Ten. I think you're gonna have. It could be Washington State. It really could be.
I mean, I'm not. If I'm taking what she's asking, that could be Pac-12 champ versus Big Ten champ. Neither one in the playoff.
Could be.
At that point, I would probably say Michigan from the Big Ten. And maybe Oregon Oregon from the Pac-12? I don't know.
I think Oregon's got 2 losses.
Do they have 2
They just
Pac-12
lost.
losses?
Yeah.
Oh shoot, they lost Stanford.
They lost to Stanford and Washington State. You can see Washington State in that game.
At that point, no, it would be Washington. They had 2 losses, but only 1 conference loss.
True.
So it would be Michigan against Washington.
Yeah, you can see that game. Northwestern is definitely hard to read. You just don't know what you're going to get from them.
Just like Michigan
I mean,
State.
they almost lost to Rutgers.
They should have lost to Rutgers.
They kind of got lucky. But you don't know what you're going to get from Northwestern. They gutted out that win, but...
And I know it's tough. You're riding the high of coming back down 10 against Nebraska. 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
Going to overtime and getting
But
the
still,
win.
you had a week to prepare for a team who's not very good in Rutgers. And
Probably
and you look terrible.
one of the bottom 3 in the Power 5.
Yeah.
And
So-
they overlooked them. They obviously overlooked them.
Yeah, but Northwestern got a win. Iowa got a win. 23-0.
23-0. Yeah, their defense is pretty good.
Wisconsin got a win. Penn State won. Michigan won. Purdue won. So, I think there's more to that. I'm excited to see what happens the rest of the year because I think we're gonna get a lot more of Nebraska. I think we're gonna get a lot more offense. I think it's gonna be excited. I think Harbaugh does get over the hump. I think they beat Ohio State this year, and I think they win the Big Ten.
Yeah, I think they do.
I mean,
And that loss to Notre Dame early is going to haunt them because they probably could have beat Notre Dame at that time. I don't know that they would now with Notre Dame playing Ian Book.
Yeah.
But I think that they probably could have beat them when they were playing Braden Wimbush.
Yeah. So I think I do think that they beat Ohio State. I really do. As much as I hate to say, because I don't really like Michigan, but I do think they're a better team than Ohio State. I really don't know if Ohio State offensively, their offense is not that bad. I don't know what they're doing throwing the ball 74 times. But,
yeah, I don't know. I think
Purdue
I was talking to somebody about it with as far as Haskins goes. Ohio State has always had that quarterback that can run. Yeah. And Haskins, as good as he is,
he's not the best runner.
And as good as the running backs that they do have,
yeah.
At least as far as college football is concerned, you need a quarterback that can run.
You need a quarterback that can at least scramble, get out of the pocket if you need him to. Not necessarily run downfield, but
right.
He did not have that. He didn't have it yesterday. So
he doesn't have it.
No.
He can't do it. He's a great passer.
Yeah, he's got a good arm.
But that is what I think is going to hold them back. And he's only a sophomore?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, they're going to be good for the next... Shoot, they'll be good for years, but he'll be good. He'll be really good for years, but they might need to learn, try to teach him how to scramble a little bit.
Yeah. So we got to wrap this up real quick.
Sorry.
So we'll answer the last question. So what are your thoughts on Iowa? Iowa, they got their one loss to Wisconsin. It's their defense, really. I think Iowa has a tough end of the year. I think with Penn State, Purdue, Northwestern, Illinois, Nebraska, I think they lose 3 of those games.
3? I was going to say 2.
I think Penn State. I think Purdue's going to beat them. And I think Northwestern or Nebraska. I think the way our offense, they have 5 games left. I think the way our offense is playing, I think we had a chance to beat Iowa but Nate Stanley's the difference.
Nate Stanley is a much better quarterback than Iowa normally has.
He is much improved.
And their defense is better than they thought they would be after losing some of their guys.
Yes. So I think they could lose 3 of those 5 games. Are they good? Yes. I really don't think they had that tough a schedule.
I don't think that. Yeah, I mean the AP and whoever does they're not giving them much love because they just shut out a Maryland team that beat Texas, mind you.
Yeah, but Maryland has not been good since.
And they move up 1 spot in the rankings.
Yes.
Where you see some of these other teams when they win a game, they jump up 5-10 spots.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, they played a team that was unranked, but I mean, they're not getting much love.
Iowa is a good team. Nate Stanley's the biggest difference. Noah Fant, they're tight ends.
Yeah, I mean, Noah Fant's a first rounder, and he's from frickin' Omaha, and we don't have him on our roster.
But their tight ends are the biggest difference in their game. It's not their wide receivers; it's their 2 tight ends. So that's their difference in their defense. So,
gosh, if we had Noah Fant on our roster right now,
So I think they still have 2 or 3 losses.
Thanks, Riley.
Yeah, they got 2 or 3 losses on their schedule. Easy.
Okay.
I think they're going to lose at least 2 of those last 5 games. Purdue, I'd be surprised if Purdue lost another game with how they played. But I don't know what their schedule looks like either.
Sure, they could be a contender to win the West. They might be Wisconsin.
Potentially.
Do they play Wisconsin yet?
I don't.
I'll have to look at their schedule.
Yeah,
I know that they lost to Eastern Michigan and they lost Northwestern right away.
Yeah, we'll have to get back to some more questions as time permits. Right now, we're about to run out of time here on the show. Also on the podcast, we only get a certain amount of time, so we only got 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
So we'll wrap this up here real quick. Next week, big games for the Big Ten. You got Wisconsin at Northwestern, Purdue at Michigan State, Iowa at Penn State, and Illinois at Maryland. I got Wisconsin, honestly, I got Purdue, I got Penn State, and I think Illinois. Actually, no, I have Maryland.
Honestly,
Maryland.
I think. Let me see. Sorry.
Bottom of the page.
At Northwestern, I think they could maybe beat Wisconsin. Purdue over Michigan State. And Penn State, Iowa's. That's very intriguing because
could be a good game.
If you remember last year, it went down to pretty much the very last play in Kinnick.
Yep.
On a Saturday night, under the lights, that Trace McSorley threw a touchdown pass to win the game.
Yeah, that was an insane game. I think at Penn State could be a big difference.
Agreed.
That atmosphere is tough to play in.
But Iowa's defense is good.
Yeah, it should be a good game. I think it's going to be a good game. I got Penn State winning, but I think it's going to be really close. I think you're going to have a similar game to last year where it's going to be, you could have a low-scoring game. It's going to come down to the last couple minutes of the game.
So what else is there? Florida, Georgia this week?
Yeah.
7 against 9. Yep. That could be pretty... That'd be pretty... That's a pretty big SEC East game, isn't it? That's probably the decider of SEC East.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be pretty... That's a 2:30 CBS game. It'd be pretty solid.
Notre Dame versus Navy. No one cares about that game except for Notre Dame
Who
fans.
said that?
Who do you think? Mikey, yeah, we did cover Martinez. He's going to be a beast in coming years. We talked about a Heisman contender as well in the next couple of years.
Yes.
So, anyways, I mean, we don't got much else for you guys today. I'll post our podcast on here as well. Please be sure to follow the podcast on iTunes. Subscribe, rate us, follow us on Twitter, keep it going on there as well, and we'll continue to do our thing and talk about Husker football. And
let us know if there's anything you want us to do, or
we'll talk about. I mean, we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk about. Yeah, for sure.
We appreciate all the comments today. I think this is a lot of fun again. Keep it up. We'll be back next week.
It's fun to talk. It's fun to talk when you win.
5 o'clock. It's fun to talk when you lose sometimes too, but 5 o'clock next Sunday, we'll be back. Go Big Red.
Yes.
Go Big Ten, and we will see you guys next week. Have a fantastic night. I'm
Yes.
Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We're 2 average guys. Cheers.
We'll see you next week.